Hi. Yes.
So we saw Kin.
We did. We saw Kin. Hell yeah, we saw Kin. Oh, boy.
I'm giant again. Hang on. There we go. This is a dumb movie.
So you might be mad about this, although I don't know. I could have actually gone to go see this movie like a week ago, but I don't know if you're glad that you're here or not.
No, you had to wait for me. Like, man, Sarah's gonna love this.
She's gonna love this movie.
She's been loving the previews.
But now we got to see it in action. So they when I was in Chicago last weekend, there was a preview screening for it going on up there. But I was tired. It was the convention, so I didn't want to go see this movie after being at the convention. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just wait till it's in Springfield. I don't know if anyone's really dying to see anyone talk about this movie, but you should be dying to hear us talk about this film. So, aren't you glad I waited?
So glad.
I am glad I was there in that theater.
So every time the preview popped up, I've just been like, Gun Haver, the movie, or The Adventures of Space Gun. But that's basically what this movie is. Like, it's 5 different kinds of movies with like the joining line being there's a space gun. And it's so boring right up until like 15 minutes before the end. So not only are you mad that you're bored, but you're mad at the movie for stopping being boring because it could have done that an hour ago.
You don't let me in on this. I was never bored in this movie.
This is your fault.
Look, just because I wrote the movie. Jesus, I don't even know where to begin with this goddamn. All right, so here's what this movie is basically. It's, for whatever reason, it's Max Steel crossed with Good Time.
So at some point in history, a little boy finds a space gun. It's either in the past or in the future or in the future past. And meanwhile, his brother, who's a monster, accidentally murders the kid's dad. Via gangsters.
Who's Dennis Quaid, by the way, playing the exact same character he played in I Can Only Imagine. The only difference is there's not a scene in this where he breaks a plate over his kid's head.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, that happened. Oh, that was a great movie. But, like, so, all right. This movie actually seems to pick up where the movie Max Steel left off. Like, space fight in similar kind of suits in an abandoned building. You could watch Max Steel, which I actually don't recommend that, honestly, but if you do, you could watch Max Steel, then put this movie on and be like, well, okay, well, here's just the continuing adventures of this action scene that happened at the end of Max Steel, only this movie is in like a 80s, early 90s action movie universe. So the plot is that it opens and these space people are fighting in this building. They leave their space gun behind. The little kid finds the space gun and
make friends with it.
Yeah, his dad is Dennis Quaid. His brother has just gotten out of jail from a lot of years, and his older brother owes $60,000 to James Franco.
And like a weird Danny McBride wig and face tattoos.
Yeah, it's crazy Van Damme villain James Franco. Like, he belongs in like Lionheart or some shit like that.
He's like peeing on the floor and putting his dudes in timeout for being sassy.
When we're introduced to James Franco, he's got one of his guys in a timeout corner facing the wall. So older brother owes James Franco like $60,000.
He was protecting him while he was in jail.
He was protecting him in jail. And so he wants the dude wants his dad's like, hey, Dad, Dennis Quaid, will you give me $60,000? No. And then he's like, okay, well, I'm going to go rob his safe. And so
even his money. It was, hey, Dad, can I steal $60,000 from your employer? And
no,
his dad's like, fucking no, get out of my house.
Go write a Christian contemporary song.
So, of course, he immediately goes and does it anyway. And he brings the crazy gangster with him. So, meanwhile, Dennis Quaid found the younger brother has been, like, stealing scrap from abandoned warehouses. He's like, that's still stealing. So, we're going to go get a list of people and call them. I'm still not sure what his plan was in terms of disciplinary measures.
Because the older brother in this movie is the same character that Robert Pattinson played in Good Time. But Good Time was one of my favorite movies of last year. That's actually a really great movie. This movie is one of my favorite bad movies this year.
Yeah, like if you say so.
I kind of love this
movie.
movie.
Back on it fondly eventually, but right now I'm mad enough to spit.
I know what you mean.
So like
that's kind of how Laura is with Gotti.
So they get there and the dad walks in and of course they're robbing the safe and the son's like, "No, Dad," and the dad's like, "You better put that money back," and the gangster's like just shoots him in the face. So this embarks the two sons on like a buddy road trip movie.
Yes.
Because the one son just runs out to the car where the younger brother's sitting there waiting with his earphones on, not having heard any of the gunshots. I'm sorry, you can still hear gunshots through earphones.
Sure.
And says like, "Hey, Dad said we should go on a road trip," and the youngest son's like, "Okay."
Sounds good to me.
And so they go and they make like a stripper friend.
Zoe Kravitz, yeah.
And they gamble for no reason. They rob like a underground cow gambling ring.
Were they robbing them, or were they just getting their money back?
They were.
I mean, they were robbing them to get their money back.
It was because Lyle Lovett had stolen this is why I hated that brother so much. Because this movie was trying so hard to make me like him, but I hated his stupid fucking murderer guts. Because first of all, he murdered the dad. Second of all, he's all like, "Hey, road trip to Lake Tahoe," instead of cluing the younger brother in as to like the heinous shit that they were in now.
Yeah.
All of which was his fault.
Mm-hmm.
And then he takes him to a strip club. The kid's like 14.
Yeah.
And then tries to jump up on stage and dance with the stripper, which is bad form in any state, let alone Nevada.
Yeah. You're right, yeah.
And then, because it's more I feel like it's more regulated there. Anyway, and then just leaves his bag of $60,000 at the strip club. Oops. And so then the stripper's like, "Well, I know where the guy's at. He's at this weird underground cow, gambling ring." And the guy's
kept waiting
like,
for one of those cows to blow up.
Me and you, a 14-year-old child, should do. We should armed rob a room full of armed gentlemen.
Yeah. I didn't have a problem with it. I'm not saying that I thought the brother was likable, because he's not, but the movie is portraying him as a fuck up. Like, he is supposed to be a fuck up.
Yeah, but he's supposed to be a lovable fuck up, and he was a hateable fuck up.
No, and you probably hated him more than me, but I see what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Because, like, I mean, this is the kind of character who's this ex-con guy, gets out of jail and is in all these stupid situations that are his own goddamn fault. So, yeah, I wouldn't put it past this guy to take the kid into a strip club.
Because I called him when we couldn't remember what his name was, crappy fake Chris Pratt. He's got kind of a Chris Pratty face, and he kept making, like, Chris Pratt facial expressions, but it was while he was doing this like monstrous self-centered sociopathic shit. Yeah. And so it just made him even creepier for me.
Sure. It made me, more than that, it just made me think of how much I liked this character better in Good Time.
Not having seen Good Time, maybe that's my
It's
problem.
a better movie. It's a better movie than this. 'Cause this movie is 5 different movies. Like, it's this road trip with these two brothers.
It's a road trip.
And then the aliens come back and you're like, oh right, it's also a sci-fi film.
Time cop subplot. It's the gangster vengeance movie.
Yeah.
It's whatever the shit was going on with Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah.
She just showed up so that they could have a friend.
Uh-huh.
I guess.
Which always happens in a movie like this. Like,
yeah,
I'm glad
her and crappy fake Chris Pratt didn't start banging, but it was still random.
The movie
just so that he had someone to live with when his brother went to jail.
Sure, yeah. There are things I like about the movie, like genuinely so. Like, I didn't think the acting was bad.
No, the acting was pretty good.
Yeah, the acting was solid in the movie. I didn't think it was a poorly made movie. Mogwai does the soundtrack, so I like the musical score in the movie. The music, it makes sense Mogwai's doing the music in this, because you can tell with the way the movie's shot. I think it's a well-shot movie. Like, you can tell by how it's shot, the way the music is, the way that they're shooting, like, the sky and things like that. Like, all right, they're trying to make, like, a goofy,
to be artsy with it.
I don't know about that, but like they're trying to make like a movie that has the feel of a movie from like 30 years ago. Like this is the kind of movie that like, yeah, my dad and I would have gone to have seen or something like that. The villains especially, and some of the action sequences in the movie, because James Franco starts out unnecessarily evil and it just escalates from there. Yep. Because once this robbery goes bad, with stealing the dad's safe, where one of James Franco's guys is killed. Bless you. Bless you. They give... James Franco gives the lackey like a Viking funeral, and
sets him up on
this
pallets
happens
and
in the
burns
movie.
him. And again, it's like, what fucking year is this that you could just be doing this in the street?
What year was this movie written? Like, is the thing. Like, so James Franco's giving this guy a
like
Viking
burning
funeral,
gangster.
and I love him in this movie. Like, this is why I like James Franco, because James Franco will just do a movie like this. Like, for every mainstream James Franco movie that's out there, your disaster artists and your Apatow comedies and things like that, there's like 10 other James Franco movies that are like this.
Your boy's gotta be rolling it down.
Usually they go direct to video and you've never heard of them. This movie is like one of those James Franco direct to video movies that somehow found a theatrical release. So Franco's the bad guy, and he's chasing these two brothers across country to kill them. Because
they killed his brother was the problem. Because the dad got killed, and then the brother like tried to grab the gun, and it killed the guy's brother.
I understand that point of it, to where like, okay, now he wants this guy dead. Like, I get that part of it, certainly, and why Franco's the villain here. But man, when it shows, so at one point, James Franco goes into a convenience store and the guy's like, nah, man, bathrooms are for customers only. Franco's like, okay, gun on the table, and just whips it out and starts pissing all over the floor and goes, I don't like it when people watch me. It like makes the guy turn around. His other lackey comes in like, yo, man, we need to rest, man. No! And so that's not even how crazy he gets in this movie, because now, for the first 85% of this movie, I was never bored by it. I wasn't sitting there like, damn, this is good. Like, well, okay, maybe in a way I was, but like, I was mainly sitting there like, okay, you know what? If this movie was on like Netflix or something like that, like, fine. Like, I could see me and Brian popping this movie up and having a pretty good time watching it at home, not in a movie theater.
Yeah, if I was allowed to be digging with my phone, I probably would have enjoyed it a little more.
But then, when the last 15 minutes of this movie are insane, like insane, to the point to where this is when it made the turn for me, where I was like, this is one of my favorite bad movies this year. Because before then, I was like, all right, there's dumb shit in this movie and things that I don't think they really thought through all that much. But I was like, I don't think this movie's trying to be deep. But then when it got to the end, I think it is. Because like, so, all right, when it's in, the two brothers get arrested. We gotta go into spoilers for this movie. I'm sorry. Because the best
twist. If you're interested because of the twist, turn off the video, go watch it, and then come back and be either me or Brad.
Yeah.
Because you'll be one of us.
Fuck me, man. So, all right, when it's in, the brothers get arrested and they're in jail, but Franco still wants them dead, to the point to where he becomes the Terminator.
It's like the taking of Pelham fucking 123. 113?
Or like, you mean like Assault on Precinct 13?
Yeah.
Yeah, or like the police shootout from the Terminator, where Terminator comes in, he wants Sarah Connor dead, and he goes into the police station. That's what James Franco does in this. Only Franco's not a fucking robot. Like, although if that was the twist, it would have made more of this make more sense. But, so Franco goes into this police station with his guys to kill the older brother, and they are just doing Terminator shit. Like, he's going around just executing cops, and they're shooting at James Franco, but he's behind bulletproof glass, and he's just going through there executing cops, like, left and right in this sequence. It is insanity. And, like, it is like in the Terminator, where the shootout starts happening, you hear the gunshots in the background, Sarah Connor's laying down on the couch and wakes up and is like, oh, what the fuck?
It's Jello starts wiggling.
Yeah. and like, it's that with the little brother, wakes up like, oh, what's going on? And the cop's like, only you can help us. And like, with space gun and like...
Technically, no. The cop is like, don't worry, I'll save you. And the kid's like, where's my big old space gun? And the cop's like, all right,
where's my space gun? So, all right.
So throughout this movie, there's been like two guys in like bike helmets trying to track down the space gun,
the aliens,
ostensibly the little boy.
Are they aliens? I think they're supposed to be aliens.
I don't know what the fuck they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
But they get a big reveal because at the end, James Franco's got he's got a gun trained on the villain of the movie. And all of a sudden the two bicycle helmets ride up on their motorcycles and throw what turns out to be a time bomb into the room, and everything freezes.
Except for the kid. Except for the little kid.
And Space Gun, his one true friend. And so then they come in, they take off their helmets, and it's Michael B. fucking Jordan saying, Elijah, this is your birthright, but we need that gun back, my friend.
So here, Killmonger shows up at the end of this movie.
Let's open a portal to the snow planet, which you can't come to because you're too young, but we're going to leave you here with this monster because he will keep you safe.
She's not lying. This happens at the end of this movie. And I was like, is that Michael B. Jordan? And then I was like, it can't be. It can't be. And then in the ending credits, it is. So, no joke. Killmonger shows up at the end of this film to tell the kid, you don't know this, but there's a war going on, and you're part of this. And, I'm sitting there, wishing I was high during this, because I was like, if I was high watching this film, especially in the last 20 minutes, I would have sobered up and believed that none of this shit happened. But it did. And if I was high in this movie, I would have been sitting there, going, so are black people aliens?
But the girl one was Asian, so I guess just all non-white people are aliens.
They're aliens.
They're the only ones that have shown up so far. Zoe Kravitz notwithstanding.
And that's what I mean.
She was an alien.
She could have been. See, that's what I mean when I'm like, okay, now I think this movie is trying to be deep.
No, I'm gonna get deep with you in just a minute. But let's finish talking about the wackadoo ending, because again, up until this point, this movie had been so somehow boringly all over the place that the fact that they'd bust this shit out right before the movie ends and then not explain any of it to me was the last twist of the knife for me. It's yeah, that was great. Do it an hour ago and you'll have my attention.
No. I'm glad it happened when it did, because it's like watching the dumbest magic trick you've ever seen, where not only do you rip the fucking when you rip the tablecloth under the glass, not only does it not work, but the glass flies up and cuts you.
The best, coolest special effects this entire movie had by far, just smashing a hole in midair to the snow planet. I guess it had snow in it, so I'm assuming it was the snow planet.
See, come on, you're glad you were at this movie. Do you hear the explanation of this movie that you're saying?
I am glad, because it's going to make it to my bottom 10.
Oh, it's not making mine.
And I'm going to have to go back and watch this video
you're going to forget.
What the fuck? Oh, no.
You're going to forget this movie? You're going to
forget the title?
You're going to forget Killmonger showing up in this
with
movie?
The generic-ass name Kin?
I'll give you that.
I remember this was Gunhaver when you texted me hey, you want to go see Kin? And
you want to go see Kin? I'm so glad you're here for this movie, by the way. This is usually a movie that me and Brian are at. We're oh, this insane shit. So, God damn it. So, and again, we're already in spoiler territory. So the way that James Franco dies in this film is so, like she just said, freezing time bomb shows up. Franco is.
He's frozen as his gun was going off.
And the bullet is also frozen, pointed right at older brother's head. So the Asian alien just takes the bullet and points it right at James Franco's head.
He does it so nonchalantly.
Boom, boom.
There you go, problem solved.
And I'm like, what a confusing way to die.
And he did it in a very Franco-y way, too. He wasn't
did.
Huh? He just kind of died with a little half shit-eating smile on his face.
Jesus Christ. I see where, I can kind of wrap my head around the idea for the movie. Okay, what if... because they show a lot of video games in the movie, and there's a part where the kid's watching, an anime or something. So it's the idea for this, I can wrap my head around. What if this video game weapon or anime weapon, something you'd see in a cartoon, it found its way into reality? I'm all right, I see that as a good, pitch thing that you would give, but this movie doesn't really do anything provocative with that.
No, well, see, that's the thing, is I kind of disagree that that's where they were going with it.
Right.
I think that they, I feel you had the right instinct when you said that they were trying to be deep with it.
Sure.
I think that they showed him playing video games. They showed the anime to show that like he was big into it, just so that it would make sense that he'd even have a certain level of competence firing this thing, because he was kind of knowing where the buttons were at.
Yeah.
And like, something with that much kick, you'd have to like know at least a little bit what you're doing. Although that kid knew fucking jack squat about gun safety.
Well, yeah.
Like, I know jack squat about gun safety, but I'm still like, his finger's inside the trigger guard. He's just like waving it in his brother's face.
I agree with what you're saying, but I think it could be both.
It could be both.
Like I agree with what you said.
I feel like they were trying to say something about family. Because,
sure.
like, I put it to you. First of all, I put it to you.
Yeah.
That the villain in this movie was his brother. And that James Franco was just the weapon that his brother accidentally fired at him that took a really long time to get there. But I can see that, He had two kins in this movie.
Uh-huh.
Space Gun,
and
his monster brother.
Mm.
And they both, I think, sort of had this weird relationship with him where they like latched onto him because they were his birthright, and were both super dangerous and lucky that they didn't murder him, but he loved them anyway.
I totally see that, and I think like a more provocative movie could be made out of that.
If he had actually been murdered at the end of the movie,
no, certainly,
like it is a fucking statistical improbability he didn't either shoot himself in the face or get shot by his brother's gangster guns.
I mean, I appreciate the idea of them because it is a gritty film. It's not a kid's movie. It's
not. I hope not.
It's not a kid's movie at all.
The story is guns are cool and it's fun to have them.
Yeah, this movie's not a kid's movie. Like it's got hard drinking, chain smoking, strip clubs, all that. It is like an early I would say more so early 90s action movie. It is more like an early 90s action movie. Like, I don't even know what it's rated. It might be a PG-13.
I thought it said PG-13 for gun violence.
And the drinking and the strip club and the strip club and all of that. Yeah, she was just kind of waggling her butt
all over the place. But there was never nudity.
Yeah, this movie is you just add like one shot of nudity and this movie's an R.
Yeah.
Like, that would kind of be the case anyway. But I mean, like this movie might as well already be an R.
There wasn't any cussing that I can remember either. I think it must have been a PG-13.
There was like, they said shit a lot and things like that.
Was there the one F-bomb? I'm trying to remember.
I don't remember if there was or not. I don't think there was. But it's definitely an adult action movie. Like, even if it is a PG-13, it is. It's I don't know. I can't wait to tell Laura all about this movie that I just sat through.
We're at the price of admission.
No,
hey, honey, guess what?
She'll want to see it because she's a big James Franco fan. So like if I even say one of his scenes in this movie, what it's like, she'll be into it. You had a worse time at this movie than I did.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, you guys.
I don't disagree with that. But this was a dumb movie that I had a better time at this movie than I thought I would, really, because I was really tired going into it. And it kind of woke my ass up a little quick.
It put my ass right to sleep, man. Like I said, the last 20 minutes kind of made it worth it.
It really does.
If it don't, it wasted my fucking time for the rest of it.
Not me. And no, I'm like, all right, so definitely a Labor Day weekend movie. That's why I'm here.
So was it better or worse than you expected? Like, not more or less entertaining, but better or worse?
Well, I mean, it was more entertaining than I thought it would be, but better or worse, like it maybe a little better, only in that, like, again, the acting was solid in the film, and the acting was solid. I thought it was a competently made movie. I thought it was a well-shot film. I thought the action sequences looked fine. Like, on a technical level, no, the movie I thought was perfectly fine. Like, the acting was better than a movie like this deserves, quite frankly. But, so in certain aspects, yeah, it was, but I couldn't recommend it higher than a Netflix watch. Because
watch it on Netflix.
That's what it feels like. It feels like something you should just be popping up on Netflix as like one of their original movies or whatever.
Yeah, it felt like, because After you mentioned how poorly it was doing in reviews, I glanced at a couple just to see. And one of them mentioned that it felt like the pilot for a series. And it definitely felt like a Netflix series pilot. And maybe I'm saying that because I read someone else read it. Maybe I'm saying that because I want to know what the fuck is up with Snow Planet. And if this is a pilot, then I at least get some more information.
I want more of these movies, goddammit.
It's just gonna stop. Just fucking stopped.
I've now seen 2 movies in the past, like, month that say on the poster from the producers of Stranger Things. And this movie was way better to sit through than Darkest Minds was. That felt like a pilot. This one was so over the top in so many levels, unapologetically so. Every scene with James Franco in this movie is unapologetically insane. The ending is insane. So when that shit happened, I was like, you've earned my respect. So pop it up on Netflix. Now that's what I was thinking. So pop it up on Netflix so you could at least like talk during the film.
Yeah, or like play Gardenscapes or whatever the shit.
It'll be on. You missed an insane ass preview before you came into the theater.
What?
Or not a preview, but a commercial.
Okay.
You remember the commercial Dave and I were telling you about that starts out in the airport and then it turns into a zombie thing?
Yeah.
Okay, same company put out another commercial that starts out, it's AT&T, starts out on a bus where a bunch of kids are on a bus trip. Suddenly, they're going around the mountains. Suddenly, the bus takes a wrong turn. The bus is about to fall off the mountain, and they're all screaming, like, in panic and everything. Like, oh, God, shit, we're gonna die. Oh, my God. And then the bus driver's like, keep calm. Move to the front of the bus. And then it turns into a musical. And then the guy's like, keep calm, move to the front of the bus. Like, the girl's like, I don't want to die like this. And it turns into this giant musical number in which they're dancing and singing off the bus while the bus just falls over the mountain at the end.
Okay.
This goes on, like, I'm describing it like this is happening quickly. No, this commercial's at least like a couple minutes long, I think, maybe even longer. It was like watching a short film, which is actually, as insane as this commercial was appropriate. It was in front of this movie, and I'm like, damn it, where's Sarah at? She would love this commercial. This disaster movie turned into La La Land halfway through.
I need to go to the bathroom. Stupid bio breaks. Creed 2.
Oh, now I know why we got the trailer for that in front of this movie.
I'm like, oh, mystery solved.
No, Creed 2 looks awesome.
It looks pretty good, yeah. I feel like I've seen some of the Rocky movies, but I didn't absorb a whole lot of them. I know, like, I remember the robot.
That's Rocky 4.
Yeah.
That's the one this one's more or less a sequel to.
Didn't Ivan Drago punch original Creed like to death with his fists? Okay, so this is kind of like I'm gonna avenge my paw or whatever.
Yeah,
but it can't. It's got to be like Drago Jr., right?
Yeah.
But
Dolph Lundgren, I guess, is actually in the movie.
Okay,
so that's cool. Like, Ivan Drago's coming back. No, I'm excited, and I love that. Like, I love the Rocky movies. I love them anyway. It's one of my favorite movie series, but I just love the tones that they all take. It's so funny thinking about how this is in the same universe as Rocky 4 with an artificial intelligent robot that's having a romance with Paulie. I hope that robot is in this movie.
I mean, too, for this preview, like Creed's got a baby and it's got like a little hat with little teddy bear ears.
Yeah.
Like, it's a cute fucking baby.
No, I'm excited for that.
Venom. David showed me a
that was we got the Turd in the Wind trailer.
Yeah, what the fuck is a turd in the wind? Anyway, David showed me a preview that was someone had spliced together Flubber and Venom. It's pretty amazing. I'll show you when we're done doing that.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, mostly I was like, because like that preview show.
Someone needs to splice. I'm sure this has already been done. Someone needs to splice together the trailers for Venom and Upgrade. I'm sure that's already been done because the two movies look very similar.
This movie looks so bad because it's not just the
turd
in the wind.
Though.
It's like, I'm gonna eat your arms and I'm gonna eat your legs and then I'm just gonna let you roll down the street like a turd in the wind. It's
you need to look at the pictures where they put little eyes.
Go with the googly eyes. Yeah.
Now that was in the movie.
Brian did a tweet where he was trying to figure out where the person was in like relation to the Venom
suit. I know,
suit.
right?
He's just kind of like hanging out the back.
It's with Tom Hardy and Michelle Williams, so I hope it's good.
It's not gonna be good.
Probably
it
not.
Looks so bad.
Well, I hope it gets insane.
Aggressively bad.
I hope it gets as insane as the movie we just watched. Then I'll be all right with
Turns
it.
out that Venom's a space cop from the ice planet.
Oh, hell yeah.
Overlord. This had less information in it than the last preview for this movie I saw, so I wonder if there was a revision.
I think there's a lot of rumors that movie's in the Cloverfield universe. Which that would be kind of cool. That's the J.J. Abrams one where it's World War II.
It's World War II and there's some sort of... Are they vampires? Or...
Yeah, there's some monsters and shit. I think it looks really, really fun.
That looks like a you and Brian movie.
Yeah, it does. There's rumors that it takes place in the same universe as those other movies, which that I can dig that because I like what they're doing. Cloverfield Paradox aside, like,
was it the space one?
Yeah, and that one wasn't. I mean, it had its moments, but it wasn't very good. If this is part of that same universe, then this already looks like a step up from that.
The House with the Clock in the Walls. So I fussed before about this preview and how the Kate Blanchett.
Yeah, Kate Blanchett.
And Jack Black are kind of sniping at each other, but rewatching the preview, they're playing a sex game. That's a sex game that they're playing.
That's why when we talked about it before, I was like, it reminds me of like when like the Ropers would trade lines like that with each other.
Were the Ropers playing a sex game?
On Three's Company, or like dialogue you'd see on the old Sonny and Cher Variety Hour.
Were they playing a sex game?
Definitely.
Because the married couple, That Darn Cat. That's what like where they just genuinely hated each other's fucking guts. This doesn't feel like that to me anymore.
Right.
Upon reviewing, because they say like, "Oh, you withered old hag," wink.
Yeah,
and it's like, "Oh, they're gonna go and have interesting sex once this child goes to bed."
Magical sex, literally.
Magical, mean-spirited winking sex.
Oh, this is an Eli Roth movie. There will be an R-rated version.
Just as long as they wait till the kid goes to bed, man. So yeah, sex games is my takeaway from that preview. Bad Times at the
El Royale. That looks fucking awesome.
Fucking amazing. Like, I'm going home and I'm showing David that preview.
Oh, he's seen it. We've gotten that trailer a few times.
Was he excited for it?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay, well, that means I probably don't get to see it, but maybe I'll see it on my own Steam.
Yeah, that's the 60s movie with... You can already tell a John Hamm movie even before John Hamm shows up in the movie.
So like... Smells hammy.
Smells like John Hamm. There he is. Yes, it's John Hamm running a hotel.
It's like on the border between California and Nevada. And it seems like kind of like a quirky whimsical, and all of a sudden shit just starts going south.
Yeah, like I remember Identity with John Cusack, where they were all in the hotel with like Johnny C. and a bunch of people. Ray Liotta was in it. Like that, crossed with like Wayward Pines.
Room 13? Room 13?
No, that was Room 1408 or 1408.
Was that also John Cusack?
Yeah, that was John Cusack. Yeah, okay. yeah.
That's all I could think of, but it felt nothing like that.
Speaking of, just a real quick side, I got to introduce my wife to Four Rooms the other day.
Did she like it?
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. I mean, I showed her the trailer, so we'll probably watch it over the weekend. She hadn't heard of it before, and she's a big Tarantino fan, so I was like, "Have you seen Four Rooms?" I'm like, "I love that movie. It's so fucking underrated." And she's like, "No, I don't know that one." So I popped up the trailer. She watched the trailer and was like, "Why doesn't anyone like this movie?" I'm like, "I've been asking this 20 years." I
love that movie.
I fucking love Four Rooms.
That was her favorite movies, and I want to watch it with you guys so I can watch her reaction to.
No, totally. I know, right? It's like I can't give away anything about this movie. Like, I'll let you know when we watch it. Like, we can all watch it together. Yes.
But yeah, Bad Times at the El Royale looks good, but it does look like a you and Dave movie for sure. The Crimes of Grindelwald.
Crimes of Grindelwald. Oh.
Yeah.
Harry Potter or whatever. It's got Dan Fogler back in it, so fine.
Yeah, so I guess like his brain isn't permanently wiped.
Yeah, and he was my favorite part of the other one. I thought, did we like the other one?
Yeah.
We did? Okay. I remember thinking, like, I think we thought it was fine at the least.
Yeah, we thought it was fine, and we liked him. We didn't like what happened to him at the end. So if his brain is back, then I'm on board.
He was my favorite.
But I mean. I'm not in charge of who gets jobs.
Sure.
And it does look very pretty, so.
Yeah. I remember Dan Fogler being what I liked the most about the other one, and he's back in this one. So, fine. I don't know. I don't really care one way or the other.
Someone pointed out there's like Johnny Depp's character is supposed to be like attractive enough that Dumbledore would be so in love with him that he wouldn't be able to like seek him out for his crimes.
Right.
And he looked like a dried out marzipan puppet. So
is that what he looks like in the book?
There's no books for these.
Oh,
these are just
right.
Straight movies.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Aren't they released as scripts or something like that?
I read the books. I did my due diligence.
Sure. Yeah.
I didn't read the Lost Child. I didn't read the play one because I heard it was bad, and I have no interest in reading bad things. But I read all the books.
Since when? Come on, fucking 50 Shades shit.
Okay, I will live tweet it if we watch the movie of that play.
Yeah, excellent. Start live tweeting Tyler Perry's plays.
Hillfest.
Oh, Hellfest, the slasher movie in the theme park.
Yeah, what the shit?
That was that trailer ended, and you just went like, whatever.
I don't even have to give a shit about this. This doesn't have to stay in my brain once I wash it off my arm.
No, because that movie is the textbook definition of a me and Brian movie.
Yeah,
it's a slasher movie in a theme park. It's like a remake of the Funhouse. Why not?
And then Hunter Killer, which is the one we thought it was going to be a remake of the Hunt for the Red October.
It's still got a Scottish captain in it.
And you said it starred that guy who's been dead
Michael
for a couple
Nyqvist.
years.
Nyqvist has been... He died a year and a half ago, I think. So when he popped up in the trailer, I was like, oh, okay, well, there's another Mike, because I always liked him a lot. So I'm like, oh, this is one coming out. But then I was like, wait, how long has this movie been around?
You think
this is a submarine movie.
It got delayed because because it seems like it's a movie where we're friends with the Russians and they keep hacking us.
It looks like something that's, I don't know about that, like, because it looks like something that's probably not going to be very good. It looks like
it got delayed ostensibly because of the Russians and mostly because they were embarrassed.
Well, it looks, and maybe this is just because of Gerard Butler in it, and Geostorm was like this. Like, it just something about it. Geostorm was pushed back because of reshoots and things like that. I can't put my finger on it, but there's just something about that trailer that feels like a lot of reshoots happened.
Yeah.
And I can't put my finger on it. I have no evidence of it whatsoever. It just sort of feels that way. I know, yeah, right. Like, so, it doesn't look that interesting.
No. It super does it. It's like, are you bad enough, dude, to save the president of Russia?
Yeah, well, if it was like that, then like, sure. But it doesn't even look like it really has that much action in it necessarily. It just
still in submarines.
Yeah.
I don't know how you rescue a guy on a submarine, but they pulled it off.
Yeah.
Like, just drive right up to shore and put out like a rope. Grab a hold!
I swear I've done this on Grand Theft Auto 5.
Alright, well, that's all from us.
Yeah. Oh, God, I still got to talk about fucking... Oh, I'm doing this with Laura. I still got to talk about Operation Finale. I forgot I saw that. So,
Operation Finale?
The one with Oscar Isaac where they capture Adolf Eichmann.
Oh, was it good?
It was fine.
Cool.
So, hey, that was right there. Go.
I'm helping.
But I'll be talking more about that here in a minute when I head back to the house. But all right, everyone, thanks a bunch for watching.
Bye.
Take care. I'll be back in like 5 minutes.
I'm going home.